Welcome to the League of Nerds comic book segment number 112. I'm John Cooney here to talk to you about comics released the 19th of March, 2014, beginning as usual with my first 5, meaning these are the first 5 books I intend to read this week, and I'll give you a little more depth on them, starting with at number 1, Uncanny X-Men number 19. Now. The next stage in humankind is here, and the Uncanny X-Men are leading the way. With original X-Man Cyclops at the Revolution's helm, Emma Frost, magic, and a new generation of mutants defend and educate all Homo superiors as warriors of the atom. But after relentless persecution from a society that fears and hates them, the Uncanny X-Men are going on the offensive. Their target? The international spy organization S.H.I.E.L.D. However, as Cyclops' team fights to save their species, are they only digging themselves into a deeper and more dangerous hole? Series writer Brian Michael Bendis explained why Cyclops' team is going after S.H.I.E.L.D. Quote, I think it's a bigger risk for him at this point not to take on S.H.I.E.L.D. Something's wrong over there and their lives are in danger. He made a promise both publicly and privately to his people that he would fight for them and protect them. Something is going on at S.H.I.E.L.D. that's putting mutant lives in danger. One would have to imagine that it's better to be alive than have goodwill. Close quote. He went on to say, quote, many people have asked in what form Cyclops' revolution will take. This is it. Close quote. At number 2, we've got Wolverine and the X-Men number 2. Welcome to the Jean Grey School of Higher Learning. The all-new Marvel Now smash hit series schools with Jason Latour of Winter Soldier and Mahmoud Asrar of X-Men leading the charge with drama, action, and homework. World-famous X-Men Wolverine, Storm, and star-studded faculty must educate the next generation of all-powerful but inexperienced mutants. But with their own lives steeped in deadly enemies and personal crises, how can the X-Men guide and educate, let alone defend, the school? At the Jean Grey School, you never know who will enroll or who will lead the class, and what mysterious organization waits in the shadows to destroy Wolverine's mutant sanctuary. The first issue established Quentin Quire as a main focus for the series. Series writer Jason Latour shared his plans for him. Quote, it's pretty clear from the jump that Quire's experiences with the future X-Men during Battle of the Atom have shaken him up a little bit. Most people would probably take the knowledge that they become the Phoenix and a full-fledged member of the X-Men as a positive sign. But it's slowly but surely forming cracks in Quentin's self-image. He'll be doing his best to deny it, but it's really difficult for him to admit that his future seems to see him end up as one of the flock, and to do so with such power at his fingertips. But even worse, the opinion of the people around him seems to have changed. Where they once hoped for better of him, now they expect it, and a driving force of the book moving forward will be those expectations and just how Quentin lives up or down to them. Our first villain will have a particular interest in Quentin's future, a tomorrow that we'll soon learn Quire knows quite a bit more about than he's letting on. A secret that threatens the folks Quentin's growing to love. Close quote. At number 3, we've got Daredevil number 1. Because you demanded it, join Marvel's fearless hero as he begins his most awe-inspiring adventure yet in the sunny city of San Francisco. Gifted with an imperceptible radar sense and a passion for justice, blind lawyer Matt Murdock, aka Daredevil, protects the Golden City streets from all manner of evil. But big changes are in store for Matt Murdock as old haunts and familiar faces rise to give the devil his due. Hold on tight, because here comes Daredevil. Series writer Mark Waid gave his thoughts about the relaunch. Quote, the most exciting part of a relaunch? Honestly, to me, it's the challenge to the craft of writing, how to make it feel totally new, reader accessible, while at the same time not losing any of the previous readers or the momentum the characters have built. But I know we can do it, especially given how soon one of the villains from the previous run will be popping up. Close quote. Series artist Chris Samney, who's credited with Waid as storytellers, agrees. Quote, I think it'll be a perfect spot for new readers to jump on, in the same way that Mark made the current run such an easy endpoint for folks that hadn't been following along for years, while still building on everything that had come before. I think the most exciting part is that hopefully new readers will decide to jump in and be excited about what we're doing. I'm also excited about having a fresh locale to work in. San Francisco is full of character and will be a fun city to draw. Close quote. At number 4, we've got Superior Spider-Man Annual number 2. The Last Temptation of Green Goblin, Phil Urich. As Goblin Nation consumes New York, the Superior Spider-Man's world is in flames. Who will rise? Who will fall? No one will be the same after this. Writer Christus Gage expressed his thoughts about the issue. Quote, the cool thing about this annual is that I get to explore stuff there literally wasn't room for in the jam-packed main series, but that is an important part of the saga. In fact, the events of the second story in the annual are so tied into the Goblin Nation storyline and significant to it, I literally can't tell you what it's about without spoilers. Close quote. He did provide some insight into the first story's focus on Phil and Ben Urich, though. Quote, in a lot of ways, Phil is almost a dark mirror image of Peter Parker. He was close to his uncle Ben, Urich, and when he acquired great power, he took on the responsibility of being a hero. But in his case, the source of that power is the Goblin formula, and sooner or later, everyone who is changed by that formula goes insane. And it happened to Phil, too. The question is whether he's redeemable. Can he be saved? This is something Ben Urich is struggling with. Ben lost his wife not long ago, and he's not going to let Phil go without a fight. I can tell you that both I and artist Javier Rodriguez were tickled pink to be doing a Ben Urich-focused story because of how much we love the great Frank Miller Ben Urich stories of the past. In my case, my father was also a trench coat wearing New York reporter covering organized crime for the New York Times in the 1970s, so it's a take on the story that pushes the buttons of the entire creative team. Close quote. At number 5, we've got Batman and Aquaman number 29. Batman is ready to settle the score with Ra's al Ghul, who stole Robin's body out of the grave. As the Dark Knight travels to the island where Damian was born, he's set on a collision course with Aquaman. Series writer Peter Tomasi described what's coming in the series, quote, first of all, number 29 is the opening chapter in the Hunt for Robin arc, so be warned that issue number 29 through 32 are the prologue for one of Batman's big 75th anniversary stories this year within the family of Bat books. And it leads to our humongous and major story that starts in July, which I'm sure DC will be announcing in a month or so. This issue is an action-packed story about Batman and Aquaman joining forces against Ra's al Ghul on the island where Talia gave birth to Damian, and all the insane experiments she was working on to take over the world, and how Ra's is taking up the reins again. As Batman looks to put to rest the bodies of Damian and Talia that Ra's dug up and stole, he begins to uncover something that will eventually put him on a path that he never expected and will lead to a life-altering event. Close quote. Rounding out the top 10 at number 6, we've got X-Men number 12, Conclusion to Ghosts. The Sisterhood is fully formed, and the battle for leadership begins. The X-Men must choose, take down the Archaea Sentinels or go after the Sisterhood. At number 7, we've got Ms. Marvel number 2. As seen in the New York Times, CNN, and other media outlets the world over, the all-new Ms. Marvel has made her thunderous debut. Kamala Khan's very ordinary life has suddenly become extraordinary. Is she ready to wield these strange and immense new gifts, or will the weight of the legacy before her be too much to handle? Critically acclaimed writer G. Willow Wilson of Air and Cairo and fan-beloved artist Adrian Alfona of Runaways and Uncanny X-Force bring you the groundbreaking Marvel series that has set the world abuzz. Don't miss history in the making. At number 8, we've got Avengers World number 4, The City of the Dead Will Rise, Starbrand must confront the ghosts of his past. At number 9, we've got New Avengers number 15, Meet the Mapmakers, Cartographers of the Apocalypse. Doctor Strange sells his soul. Reed Richards and the Illuminati rekindle an old relationship. And at number 10, we've got Rocket Girl number 4, Nowhere Fast. The book everyone is talking about has plenty more surprises locked, loaded, and ready to shoot you in the face. It's all-out action in this issue with the rocket chase through the graffiti-littered subway tunnels of NYC. DeYoung is stuck in the 80s with only her jetpack and wits to help the teenager crack a time-spanning conspiracy. Rocket Girl will get the who, what, where, when, and why, and deliver the wham. For the best of the rest from DC Comics, we've got Birds of Prey number 29. Black Canary confronts Ra's al Ghul, who makes her an offer that could save her husband. Is she willing to pay the ultimate price? Next, we have Harley Quinn number 4. Meet Harley's new neighbors and shudder at the horrifying realization that they're so twisted they make her seem like the normal one on the block. We've also got Red Hood and the Outlaws number 29. Jason and Corey set out to deliver justice to alien murderers, but they'll need to steal a spaceship to do it. Now, who in the New 52 has something like that they could borrow? And we've got Suicide Squad number 29. The squad must stop the Thinker from delivering OMAC to the crime syndicate, but with Belle Reve in ruins and the team betrayed by one of their own, do they really stand a chance? From Marvel Comics, we've got all-new Ghost Rider number 1, Engines of Vengeance Part 1. A street race leads a young man on a fast and furious road of destiny. Amid an East Los Angeles neighborhood running wild with gang violence and drug trafficking, a war brews in the criminal underworld. With 4 on the floor, Marvel's newest Ghost Rider puts vengeance in overdrive. Next, we have all-new Invaders number 3, Gods and Soldiers Part 3. The plans are drawn, the task is clear. To save their ally Namor, the remaining invaders must live up to their name and take the fight to Hala, the Kree homeworld. But how does Arcus, the original Vision, figure into this strategy? And how will the Winter Soldier track him down in the first place? Plus Namor in battle with Tanalth and her elite pursuer corps, and a guest star no one will expect, especially not the Invaders themselves. We've also got Iron Man number 23 point now, an all-new epic begins, Rings of the Mandarins. Malekith the Accursed has a problem with Iron Man. Malekith the Accursed has a problem with pretty much everyone. Cutting-edge science versus the most arcane science imaginable, all in a bath of blood. Which classic Marvel UK character returns in a reinvented form after the Revolutionary War? And we have Nova number 15. Sam leads an intergalactic exodus off an orbiting slum. Can he rescue Beta Ray Bill's people before they're sold into slavery? And will he catch up to Captain Skarn before he can hurt anyone else? From Boom Studios, we have Rush, Clockwork Angels number 1 of 6. Why we love it? Rush's Clockwork Angels is a testament to the band's creative versatility, successful as a concept album, novel, and international tour. Now Rush drummer and lyricist Neil Peart and New York Times bestselling author Kevin J. Anderson are bringing the story of Clockwork Angels to comics, where newcomer artist Nick Robles will bring the journey of Owen Hardy to visual life. Why you'll love it? Die-hard Rush fans have longed for Peart's narrative songwriting to be added to comic book form for decades, but fans of steampunk fantasy will enjoy journeying into the world of Albion thanks to Anderson's skilled storytelling. What it's about? Owen Hardy, like all the people of Albion, has lived his whole life under the rule of the Watchmaker. His entire life has been planned down to the exact second. But what happens when a young boy decides that things should not always go as planned? From Dark Horse Comics, we've got Terminator, Enemy of My Enemy, number 2 of 6. Biotechnician Elise Fong is destined to discover a vital weapon against the Terminators, and Skynet has no intention of waiting until she does. Targeted for actions in her future, Fong's only hope in the present is the ex-CIA operative tasked with kidnapping her. But can even CIA training stop at T-800? From Image Comics, we've got Lazarus, number 7, Lift, Part 3. Forever's investigation into the thefts of Carlisle material lead to an alarming discovery and a new insight into the Freeman resistance. The Barretts continue making their way to Denver and pay a terrible toll. We've also got Noah hardcover from acclaimed filmmaker Darren Aronofsky of Black Swan and the Wrestler and artist Nico Henriken of Pride of Baghdad. Noah is a fresh take on the biblical epic for the 21st century. A fantastical world is about to be destroyed, and one man is chosen to start a new one. As wicked forces try to take his ark, Noah must hold his family together while they watch the annihilation of all they know. Infusing the book of Genesis with fantasy and science fiction, Noah both reinvents the elements of the flood story everyone knows, and simultaneously takes the reader beyond them and into the unexpected. From Valiant Entertainment, we've got Harbinger, Bleeding Monk number 0.2014. What has become of the Bleeding Monk? The Bleeding Monk, formerly Toyo Harada's right hand, has been missing for over a year. Now the original creative team of Joshua Dysart and Carrie Evans are journeying into the darkest corners of the Harbinger Foundation to reveal the true whereabouts of Harada's cryptic advisor, and uncover the first of many secret revelations to come. And we've got XO Manowar number 23 with the solicit Classified. Out in trades this week, we've got Saga Volume 3 trade paperback. The Eisner, Harvey, and Hugo award-winning phenomenon continues as new parents Marco and Alana travel to an alien world to visit their hero, while the family's pursuers finally close in on their targets. Collect Saga number 13 through 18. Next, we have Iron Man Epic Collection Volume 16 War Games trade paperback. John Byrne's complete run is collected in one volume. Tony Stark has a bullet lodged in his spine, and that could be the least of his problems. The ghost of an old enemy, the machinations of a vengeful madman, and a menace from within Tony's own body comes to a head in Armor Wars 2, the cataclysmic sequel to one of Iron Man's most memorable storylines. Things get worse as the Mandarin returns, but when the villain unleashes the power of the king-sized alien dragon Fin Fang Foom, it will take 2 Iron Men to stop them. And it's Cold War chaos as Iron Man and the Black Widow race to prevent World War III, plus the origin of Iron Man, collecting Iron Man number 258 to 277. And we have Ultimate Comics Spider-Man by Brian Michael Bendis Volume 4 trade paperback. Miles Morales has the powers, costume, and web shooters, but to really learn what it is to be Spider-Man, Miles needs an arch nemesis, and he may have found one in a terrifying new Venom. The sinister symbiote believes he has discovered who now wears the web mask, but Venom has mistakenly tracked down Miles' father. his dad's life in the balance, the fledgling web-slinger faces his greatest challenge yet, to overcome this horrific foe as his fragile secret comes ever closer to being exposed. With aid from Peter Parker's former girlfriends, Gwen Stacy and Mary Jane Watson, Miles confronts the dark side of the Parker legacy, and as his life is turned upside down once again, he learns that, for Spider-Man, with great power there also comes great tragedy. Collecting Ultimate Comics Spider-Man number 16.1 and 19 through 22. Okay, so that's just a few of my favorite books out this week. There's still plenty of others available, and I broke out all the Marvel titles this week in their own video, with a separate video for all of DC, and even a video with the top independent publishers. You can find them all on my YouTube channel at he'sgotissues.com. And we'll also have links up on the leagueofnerds.com, our Facebook page, so be sure to like us there too. And of course, you can follow everything I'm reading on Facebook, Pinterest, Tumblr, or Twitter. You can find links to everything in the About section at he'sgotissues.com. And a reminder that both He's Got Issues and the League of Nerds are proud members of the Comics Podcast Network. So until next week, I'm John Cooney, and I've got issues.